Vital Core Health just rejected his daughter's cystic fibrosis medication claim. Now he's pulling a midnight shift to find $5,000. If you've ever felt powerless, tap like, share this story, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay informed. Elliot. Monroe blinked against the glare of the dashboard light as he wheeled his aging sedan onto the darkened tarmac of the airport terminal. He'd already worked 12 hours straight at Mercy General Hospital's night desk, but there was no rest until his daughter's prescriptions were paid. His phone buzzed again. Another automated denial notice that pushed Marissa's treatment further out of reach. He parked near the curb, the engine ticking as it cooled, and caught a faint oil scent that reminded him how long he'd been nursing this car on a shoestring budget. The airport lights formed halos in the windshield, but inside, exhaustion weighed his eyelids down. He reached over to pick up his daughter's photo taped to the dash, a smiling 8-year-old in a purple sweatshirt, then snapped it back into place with a sigh. Captain Lena Torres emerged from the sliding doors, her military-issue jacket slung over one shoulder. She closed the door gently behind her and settled into the back seat, her posture stiff with the discipline he'd come to admire. She offered Elliot a tired nod, and he managed a weary smile in return. He glanced at the duffel bag resting on the floorboard, its canvas frayed but sturdy, everything she owned packed inside, ready for the next assignment. Long flight? He asked. His voice came out gravelly. For hours, she replied, eyes fixed on the city lights beyond the window. And it feels longer. Elliot eased the sedan into traffic, headlamps cutting through a blanket of fog drifting across the runway. The car's suspension groaned as he took the first curve, but he barely registered it. His mind was already back at home, tallying unpaid bills, imagining the look on Marissa's face when she found out her inhaler wouldn't arrive until next month. Lena tapped the side of her bag, a soft, reluctant sound against the vinyl seat. I left something in your car last week, she said, her voice low. A flash drive. It's important. He kept his eyes on the road. I'll check when we get back, he said, unwilling to add more to her burden. She was here for rest, not to drag him deeper into her world. The highway stretched out before them, a ribbon of asphalt under the pale glow of sodium vapor lamps. Above, a single star peeked through the haze. He inhaled slowly, tasting a hint of engine oil mixed with night air, and felt a knot tighten in his chest. Thank you for the ride, Lena said after a moment. I know it's late. Family helps family, Elliot replied, voice soft. He wondered if she would ever truly understand what that phrase meant to him. A single parent juggling an underpaid job and a life-saving diagnosis. He shifted gears and set his foot gently on the accelerator. As they passed the last terminal sign, Marissa's photo caught the light one more time, her grin seeming to challenge him. Keep going, Daddy. Lena reached into her pocket and pulled out a boarding pass. She glanced at the airport name, Denver International, and folded the pass neatly. The VA caught wind of some discrepancies, she said, almost to herself. I thought you should know. Elliot's grip tightened on the wheel. He suppressed a sigh. His world had been small lately, hospital shifts, late fees, pharmacy counters, and now it was colliding with hers, military bureaucracy, federal contracts, hidden agendas. He wasn't sure he was prepared for the fallout. She leaned forward and tapped his shoulder. You saved my life once. Let me return the favor. He swallowed hard. Just drive me home, Captain. She nodded, settling back. For a moment, silence drifted between them, broken only by the hum of tires on pavement. The city skyline rose ahead, skyscrapers dark except for a few glowing windows. Home was beyond that, where Marissa would be waiting in her bed, probably awake now, wondering why her father hadn't come back sooner. Elliot weighed the clock. In his mind, he had until sunrise to pull together the money. One more shift, one more favor. He glanced at Lena's profile in the rearview mirror. Her jaw was set, determined, as if she, too, refused to back down. They crossed the downtown bridge, the river below reflecting scattered lights. He exhaled, a small plume of breath in the cool night air, and pressed onward. Whatever lay ahead, he knew he couldn't stop. His daughter depended on him, and now, so did this soldier who trusted him enough to ask for help. Elliot sat at his cramped kitchen table, the flash drive balanced between his thumb and forefinger like a ticking time bomb. He'd retrieved it from the glove compartment earlier, brushing away a loose receipt before slotting it into his laptop's USB port. His screen glowed in the dim light, illuminating lines of encrypted code that pulsed with potential. Across the room, Marissa's favorite blanket lay folded on a chair, untouched since bedtime, an unspoken reminder of the stakes that he waited for the drive's contents to load, nursing a mug of reheated coffee whose stale bitterness matched his mood. Minutes crawled by until a single file icon appeared. VC_VA_contracts_2021.zip. His pulse quickened as he clicked. The archive revealed dozens of PDF contracts, invoices, and internal memos, each stamped with Vital Core Health's logo. One memo caught his eye, an executive email instructing regional managers to inflate service fees to mask administrative costs. Another spreadsheet showed denied claims flagged by service codes that didn't exist. Realizing he lacked the expertise to parse every line, Elliot called Tanya Reed, the data specialist who'd once exposed irregularities at a regional pharmacy chain. He found her at a neighborhood cafe, surrounded by open notebooks and 2 phones. Over the line, her voice was steady but urgent. "I'm on my way," she said. When Tanya arrived, she took one look at the flash drive and ushered Elliot to her rented office. The space was cramped but orderly, whiteboards covered in flowcharts, stacks of technical journals on every surface. She plugged the drive into a secure desktop, fingers flying over the keyboard. As files decrypted, she muttered observations. "See here? This clause allows them to deny every claim above a certain threshold without penalty." Elliot leaned forward. "So they've been charging veterans more, then refusing to pay out?" Tanya nodded, eyes fixed on the scrolling data. "And it's systematic. This isn't a one-off error. It's a deliberate scheme across multiple states." They pored over emails between Vital Core executives discussing cost recovery strategies and limiting reimbursements. Each document built on the last, revealing a cold calculus: maximize profit at the expense of those who'd served. Marissa's life-saving treatment wasn't an isolated incident. It was one battle in a much larger war. Halfway through tagging relevant files, Tanya paused and looked up. "They'll notice this breach," she said. "Security logs will show unauthorized access." Elliot's stomach tightened. "What do we do?" Before Tanya could answer, her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and paled. "I have to take this," she said, stepping outside. Moments later, raised voices drifted back in, urgent, clipped. Elliot watched through the glass as Tanya argued. When she returned, her expression was grim. "They know something's off," she said. "Their IT team just started scanning for unauthorized drives. We have to move fast." Elliot rose and paced. "If we leak this, it could blow the lid off their entire operation. But it'll put us in their crosshairs." Tanya tapped her pen against the table. "We need public pressure. If we can get veterans groups involved, force a response, they'll have to address it." Just then, Tanya's laptop flickered and the screen went black. Elliot's heart leapt. Then the desktop rebooted itself, wiping the decrypted files. His mouth went dry. "It's a trace wipe," Tanya whispered. "There, in our system right now." Pattern interrupt. The office TV snapped on to a breaking news segment. Grainy footage showed veterans marching outside a VA building, placards raised. "Stop denying our care." The anchor's voice crackled. "Protesters say they've uncovered evidence of fraudulent contract practices by Vital Core Health. Claims that the company has been intentionally denying veteran benefits." Elliot and Tanya exchanged a look, a sudden surge of hope and dread. The protest was real, but the coverage didn't mention them. The story was only a fragment of the truth, shaped by unwitting footage from a late-night demonstration. If Vital Core held the narrative, they could shape it to protect themselves. Tanya slammed her hand on the desk. "We need our own source. Someone inside Vital Core who can confirm the data, someone they can't silence." Elliot's mind raced to Lena Torres and the flash drive she'd entrusted him with. He realized she must have secured the original files at great personal risk. "Lena has the master copy," he said. "We need to get it from her, and fast." They called Lena. Her line went straight to voicemail. Elliot left a terse message. "Meet me at Mercy General in 30. No explanations. Just the address." He paced the street outside Tanya's office, anxiety coiling in his chest. The night air felt thick, as though the city itself was holding its breath. Marissa's face flashed in his mind, her smile, her confidence in him. He couldn't let her down. Inside, Tanya worked feverishly to reconstruct partial data from cached fragments, but the full picture remained incomplete. Each corrupted file felt like a blow. Elliot checked his watch. 2 hours until Lena's shift ended. He drained his mug and squared his shoulders. When Lena arrived at the hospital's back entrance, Elliot caught sight of her uniform and trusted gait. He led her to an empty conference room, where Tanya waited with a fresh laptop. Elliot slid the intact flash drive across the table. Lena's eyes flickered with relief. "We lost our decrypted work," Elliot said. "But this is the original. Help us pull what we need before it's gone again." Lena nodded, her training evident in the way she took command. She inserted the drive, bypassed the corrupted sectors, and began transferring key documents. Within minutes, she'd isolated 8 files, 3 executive emails, 2 contract amendments, and 3 internal memos, all stamped with Vital Core's internal mark. Tanya decrypted and verified each one, her edits confirming the scheme's scope: inflated fees for essential treatments, intentional claim delays to generate late payment penalties, and directives to deny veterans seeking appeals. The evidence was overwhelming. Elliot leaned back, breath catching. "This is enough to force an inquiry," he said. "But we have to make it public before they can lock it down again." Lena shut her eyes for a moment. "I'll reach out to my old contact at Stars and Stripes. They owe me a favor." Tanya exhaled. "And I'll prepare an anonymous drop to a veteran-run news outlet." Elliot's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Stop, or you'll regret it." His blood ran cold. He set the phone down. "They know," he said. Lena exchanged a look with Tanya. "That means we've already won half the battle," she said quietly. "Now we control how the story gets told." Tanya opened a secure browser and began drafting an email to the outlet. Elliot watched the words fill the screen, feeling a surge of determination. Between them, they had the proof, the contacts, and the will to bring Vital Core down. But as Lena's phone buzzed with an incoming call labeled unknown, the three realized their window was closing. The next move would decide everything, and they would have to act before dawn. If you've ever faced unfair treatment by a big company, tap like and share. Elliot spent the next morning in a haze, juggling unpaid bills and frantic calls to pharmacies. His phone vibrated with a different urgency, a news alert stating that Captain Lena Torres had been served with a federal gag order. Cease all communication about Vital Core or face contempt charges. He bolted upright in his chair at Mercy General's break room, the fluorescent panel above buzzing as if in warning. Across town, Tanya Reid opened her inbox to find a dossier of doctored social media posts and anonymous tip-offs branding her unreliable and driven by vendettas. Her colleagues at the data center avoided eye contact, whispers trailing in her wake. Someone had paid for ad space on local forums, calling her a liar exploiting veterans. Elliot's blood ran cold. He dialed Tanya's number, but it went straight to voicemail. He left a terse message: "We're under attack. Meet me at the diner on Elm." At the diner, Elliot slid into a booth opposite Tanya, who looked exhausted but defiant. She pushed a sheaf of printouts across the table, a legal filing from Victor Hensley's firm claiming Lena had violated confidentiality agreements, and threatening Tanya with libel suits if she repeated unverified allegations. "They're using their lawyers as weapons," Tanya said, voice low. "And they're panicking." Elliot rubbed his temples. "My daughter's inhaler shipment was canceled again. Now they want another $20,000 up front before they'll fill it. I don't know how much more I can take." Tanya reached out and placed a hand on his. "You're not alone. We'll fight this." A sudden clatter drew their attention as 2 suited men entered the diner, scanning the room. Tanya froze. One man tapped his earpiece and nodded toward their booth. Elliot's heart pounded. Were they next? The men moved on, ignoring the booth, but Elliot's knuckles whitened around his coffee cup. He glanced at Tanya. "They're watching everywhere." 3 days later, Elliot hunched over his laptop in his cramped living room, surrounded by overdue notices and half-eaten takeout boxes. He had arranged to meet local journalist Maya Santos, known for her investigative pieces on corporate malpractice. A secure chat window blinked, ready for file transfer. He clicked send and watched as the progress bar inched forward. Meanwhile, Lena Torres sat under tight restrictions at her mother's house, pacing in zombie gray sweats. She tapped through email chains with her pro bono attorney, whose messages grew more urgent. They're moving to freeze your bank accounts. Do not travel. Each ding signaled another legal maneuver designed to silence her. Back in Elliot's living room, the transfer hit 90%. He leaned back, exhaling. Just then, his screen flickered and the window closed. He tried to reopen it. Access denied. His mouth went dry as he dug for the flash drive, only to find it missing from the desktop port. Panicked, he scanned the room. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, he saw two more suited figures, this time with badges clipped to their belts. Federal agents, he realized. His pulse raced. Inside the chat log, Maya's reply popped up, file corrupted on receipt. I'll check with IT. Elliot typed back, check now, we can't lose this. But Maya's cursor stalled. No response that he bolted from the couch, nearly knocking over a stack of mail. No, 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 he yelled. Footsteps hushed in the hallway. He froze, breath catching. In that moment, Tanya burst in through the side door, laptop in hand. She slammed it onto the coffee table and opened a secure portal. I intercepted a backup, she announced. Elliot exhaled, relief flooding him. We still have a chance. Suddenly, Lena's number popped up on Elliot's phone. He answered, voice trembling. Lena, she cut him off. They've revoked my clearance. They're demanding I hand over everything I have or face treason charges. The three looked at one another, the weight of their opponent's reach pressing down. Every advance they'd made was on the brink of collapse. Elliot sat before his home-built rig, a jumble of screens and patched cables, his fingers hovering over the keyboard as he recalled Marissa's unwavering smile. Her handwritten note lay to his right. You're my hero, Daddy. I believe in you. He paused, tracing the looping letters with his thumb, a surge of determination flooding his chest. He refocused on the main monitor, where a login prompt blinked. Vital Core employee. Portal. Months of late nights and clandestine tips had yielded a backdoor script written by Tanya. Now, Elliot adapted it, bypassing multi-factor controls with lines of Python and shell commands. Each entered passcode felt like a pulse racing toward truth. Within seconds, the portal's dashboard appeared. Live feeds of claim approvals, internal memos, executive chat logs. Elliot's heart pounded. He navigated to the executive communications folder and opened the most recent email chain. From CEO at vitalcore.com to regional managing at vitalcore.com subject. Cost recovery adjustment, ensure all denied. Veteran claims site policy 27.4.b. Do not approve appeals under any circumstance. He scrolled to find attachments. Minutes of an internal meeting where executives celebrated record profits at the expense of disabled service members. Screenshots of that discussion filled his screen. Elliot quickly packaged the emails into an encrypted archive and uploaded them to a burner cloud account. He exhaled, feeling the weight of proof in his hands. But the portal's log showed a new login alert. Admin override detected. He'd triggered Vital Core's intrusion alarms. Across town, Lena Torres rallied her former squad via secure group chat. Each veteran responded with loyalty and outrage. She organized a midnight protest outside Vital Core's headquarters, a guerrilla action to bring the evidence to light. They loaded portable projectors into SUVs, mapping out the building's north facade, 30 feet of flat concrete perfect for a projection. As dusk fell, Elliot texted Tanya, "We're set. Get ready." She replied with a thumbs-up emoji and a single word, live. By 11 p.m., a convoy of black SUVs rolled up to Vital Core's glass tower. Lena led her squad, 10 former captains, sergeants, and lieutenants, each wearing veterans' caps and holding placards reading, "Accountability now," and "Veterans deserve care." They took positions around the building's perimeter. Elliot watched through his binoculars from a rooftop across the street. He activated the first projector. The CEO's email chain filled the glass panel, each word stark against the steel framework. Passers-by stopped, phones raised. Lena's voice crackled through a portable PA system. This is not just about one family or one illness. It's about the thousands of veterans having their benefits stolen. We stand here tonight to demand transparency and justice. Another projector joined the first, displaying the meeting minutes with smug executive remarks. Lena's squad cheered in unison, their faces illuminated by the ghostly light. Suddenly, searchlights swept the street, Security guards and local police arrived, their radios crackling. Lena's squad locked arms. A tense standoff ensued as officers ordered them to disperse. That Elliot's phone buzzed. An incoming encrypted video feed from Tanya inside Vital Core's IT hub. She'd infiltrated their servers and was live-streaming the broadcast back to the protesters' phones. Within minutes, the projection multiplied across social media, Twitter, Facebook, livestream platforms, all amplifying the evidence. Share this story to spread the word about standing up to injustice. Officers hesitated as a crowd gathered, civilians drawn by the projections, murmurs rising into shouts. Let them speak. The pressure mounted. Under the glare of public scrutiny, security guards backed away, unwilling to escalate. Lena's squad stood firm until local TV crews arrived, capturing every moment. Elliot watched the scene unfold, Marissa's note still clutched in his other hand. He realized this night would change everything. The truth was no longer locked behind corporate walls. It was shining in plain sight. That as the protest wound down hours later, protesters dispersed peacefully. Lena approached Elliot on the rooftop, her face flushed with victory. They can't hide now, she said. Elliot nodded, tears in his eyes. He folded Marissa's note and slipped it into his pocket. We did it, for her, for every veteran, he replied. Together, they watched dawn break over the city skyline, knowing the next battle would come in courtrooms and boardrooms, but the power had shifted. Ordinary people had shown they could hold giants to account. And for Elliot, that was the true triumph. The morning sunlight streamed through the courthouse's tall windows as the federal judge announced the terms. Vital Core Health would pay a $50 million settlement, overhaul its VA contracts, and establish an independent watchdog to review all future claims. Lena, Tanya, and Elliot sat together in the front row, relief washing over them. Whispers of applause rippled through the courtroom. Veterans and families who had followed their journey had come to witness the verdict. Outside, news vans lined the sidewalk. Reporters approached the trio for comment, cameras flashing. Elliot stepped forward, Marissa's photo in his jacket pocket. He spoke clearly into the microphone. This settlement ensures that no other family has to fight for the care their loved ones earned. Today proves that perseverance and unity can break even the strongest walls. The crowd cheered, and Lena felt a surge of gratitude for the single father who had become her fiercest ally. Back home, Marissa's prescription arrived that afternoon, each vial meticulously labeled and covered by the new settlement fund. Elliot unpacked the medication, tears in his eyes as he saw the words "approved" stamped across the paperwork. He held the box up to Marissa, who squealed with joy and wrapped him in a tight hug. In that embrace, Elliot felt every late shift, and every risk had been worth it. Across the city, VA offices reopened appeals for denied claims. Veterans lined up to resubmit paperwork, buoyed by the knowledge that mistakes, or worse, intentional denials, would be corrected. Tanya watched as local veterans groups thanked her for exposing the truth. Her work had restored benefits for hundreds, perhaps thousands, of those who had served. That evening, Elliot pulled his beat-up sedan into the driveway. It's familiar. Rattles and worn upholstery greeting him like an old friend. He stepped out and found Marissa waiting by the passenger door, her hands clutching the car keys he had given her. Ready? He asked, voice warm. She grinned. Let's do this. In the empty parking lot next to their home, Elliot guided Marissa through the motions, hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, gentle pressure on the pedals, eyes on the road ahead. The engine shuddered as she eased forward, and Elliot's heart swelled with pride. Each turn of the wheel was a lesson in trust. Trust in herself, in her father, and in the brighter future they had fought to secure. Meanwhile, Lena convened her squad one last time at the old airfield where they had trained together. Under the fading light, she laid out a new plan, a nonprofit organization to monitor corporate compliance with veterans' benefits, offering legal and technical support to any service member facing denials. Her team pledged to fight on, ensuring that Vital Core settlement would not be the end of their mission, but the beginning of a lasting safeguard. As dusk fell, Elliot and Marissa returned home, driving slowly under newly installed streetlights, a small gesture funded by community donations raised during the trial. Marissa switched off the engine and hopped out, planting a kiss on her father's cheek. He ruffled her hair and smiled. She was safe, she was healthy, and they were together, that night, Elliot found Lena and Tanya on his porch, cups of coffee in hand. They sat beneath the glow of the porch light, reflecting on the journey from midnight. Airport pickups to courtroom victories. Tanya raised her cup to truth, to courage, and to the people who stand up when it matters most. Elliot nodded. We proved that ordinary people can topple powerful systems. They shared a quiet moment of triumph, knowing their fight had ripple effects far beyond their own lives. Marissa's treatment was secure, veterans' rights were restored, and a new generation of whistleblowers felt empowered to speak out. Join our community, subscribe, hit the bell, and share this story so we can continue exposing injustice together.